Ife, how can I stop caring about what people think? I'm gonna give you 3 steps. My name's Ife. This is Are You Happy TV? We're humanizing mental health. And here is the clincher. You don't have to be a licensed clinical professional to be engaged in the conversation. You don't have to have ever gone to therapy. You could just be a regular person. Mental health is human health. So if you want to be a part of those of us who are choosing happy today, why don't you click the subscribe button so you never miss an upload? Get you some merch, maybe even just leave a comment, join the discussion. Let's get into it. How do I stop caring about what people think? Now let's explain the circumstance here. We're not talking about how do you break the law and get away with it. We're not talking about how do I abuse people and not care. That's not what I'm talking about. The circumstance we're referring to here is when we allow the opinions of others to negatively affect our ability to act on things that we have set out to act on. For example, when you're moving into something new in your life, a new job, a new relationship, even trying to do a new hobby, even the endeavors like losing weight or going back to school, these are areas where we need full confidence, we need boldness to step into things that can be challenging. And so often, those of us who do these things find ourselves with the opinions of other people around us negatively impacting our ability to step into the things that we've already decided we were going to step into. This video is to help you to stop caring about what other people think. And these are well-meaning people. These are well-meaning people. But we have to get to a place where we identify the pattern of behavior that holds us back from accomplishing our dreams. It holds us back from doing the things we're really meant to be doing the things that God put in you to do. So, first and foremost, let's just talk about that cause and effect. That stimulus and reaction that takes place that is so damaging, so detrimental to our mental health, keeping us in a cycle of inaction and inability to step forward in the ways we want to. So, first and foremost, we could be setting out to do something, and someone who's close to us can come around and say, "Hey, why are you doing that? You shouldn't do that. You should do this. You should do something else. You should do this other thing that I think you should do." The reaction that we want to start to analyze and help ourselves to avoid is our reaction where we're feeling like we have to start explaining ourselves to this person. Like we need to know that they approve of what we're doing, almost like we're trying to control their perspective of what we're doing. It is compulsive behavior where we're suddenly finding ourselves in the middle of a very passionate conversation where we are trying to get the person to see our perspective with the purpose of now this person can affirm and approve of what it is I'm doing. So the cause is the person interjects their opinion, and it's often the opposite of what we're setting out to do. They're often thinking, don't do what you want to do there, do something else, okay? And our reaction is we just initiate this onslaught of explanation to try and change their opinion and try to get them to think the way we think and approve of what we're doing. So why is this so detrimental? It's so detrimental because the thing that we're setting out to do, we have to go into it with boldness. And these new things in our lives, they're not just going to happen. we have to know we're on the right track, and we have to have every bit of energy in putting one foot in front of the other. Our energy cannot be divided trying to get people on our side and trying to get people to agree with us and trying to get people's opinions to approve. We don't have enough time to do that. We have only limited energy, limited time. We are intended to put all of that energy into accomplishing what we've set out to, not to put that energy into trying to please people. So I'm going to give you 3 questions to ask yourself in this process, just so you can get a better, simpler human understanding into why it is that we're going into this, why it is that this cause leads us to start feeling this way. Why is it that this stimulus of this person's opinion leads us to this reaction? So let's understand it from a human perspective. Question number 1. Who is the person in your life whose opinion is triggering you towards this reaction the most? Is it your mother or father, your sister or brother, your uncle or aunt, your husband or wife, your best friend, your pastor? Who is it? Because if we identify that, is it even, say you have a YouTube channel, is it your audience? Say you make music, is it your fans? Think about who it is. These people affect us in this way. It's usually the people who are closest to us. We're going to talk about why soon. Question number 2. What is it that they're saying that triggers you? What is it that they're saying that triggers this reaction in you? Usually what we'll find is it's an opinion that is expressing disapproval in our behavior or actions, and I don't mean constructive criticism now. I mean an opinion that just contradicts the thing that we're already getting the ball rolling on. Say, for example, you're starting a business, and this is a business you've been planning for years. You just have this thing in your heart, and you know that it's God who put it there, and you want to step into it. And you're just getting the ball rolling, and you're stepping into it, and you're enjoying yourself. And here you have an opinion from your mother. Why are you doing that? That's so silly. Why are you doing that? Do something else. Go get a job. It's fine. Don't do that. Say you want to go back to school. Say you have kids and you have decided, I'm going back to school, and I'm going to go back to school boldly. And your husband comes to you and he says, why are you doing that? You don't need to go back to school, honey. I got you. Don't worry about it. So we're talking about circumstances like this, where we start to feel like we have to explain ourselves away. Explain ourselves until we're nothing but a whisper and we have no energy left to do anything. Okay? So what is it that they're saying to you that's triggering this response? It's usually a contradicting opinion. Number 3, ask yourself why it is. Why is it that what they're saying to you is triggering this response? Let's understand something. The reason why people's opinions mean so much to us is because their opinion means so much to us. Why do you care about what people think? Because you care about what that person thinks about you. And what happens so often is, if we're trying to do something and someone who we care about, someone says something to us that contradicts the thing we're doing, not only do we see that as a disapproval of what we're so fervently trying to step into, but by extension, we start to think that they're not approving of us. They don't affirm us. And we have to be aware that we're making that connection on a day-to-day basis. And all that is a wound from childhood. When we're children, we see the world around us as centered on us. If our parents are fighting in front of us, it's because of us somehow. And we cannot distinguish between what has to do with us and what doesn't at a certain age. So some of us felt like we weren't embraced as children. Some of us come from very strict households and maybe were overly criticized, maybe missed out on a lot of encouragement and affirmation, and maybe didn't develop a lot of security. And that's heartbreaking. And while it is also important to realize it is affecting you as an adult. And so as adults, we find ourselves in this process of, I feel compulsion to explain myself away. And I think that if I do that, you can agree and approve and affirm me in my being. And that's so detrimental to our security. And it's so detrimental to our ability to step forward into what we're meant to do. So what can I do about it? I'm going to give you 3 steps. Step number 1, catch yourself when you're suddenly feeling that compulsion. So I gave you the equation. There's a cause and then there's an effect. There's a stimulus and then there's a reaction. So when the person gives their opinion, okay, so now you've identified which person or which people, and then you've identified the words that they're using, and then you've identified why it triggers you to react in that way where you're explaining yourself. So now you can catch yourself because you know the circumstances in which it's happening. So say I'm talking to my mom, talking to my uncle, talking to my aunt, and they come to me and they say, why are you doing that silly YouTube channel? Why don't you do something else? And suddenly in my body, I feel like a volcano. Something is coming up like this and it wants to come out. Understand that sensation is now your 2 seconds, 2 nanoseconds before you are about to go into that compulsion to explain yourself. So number 1, catch yourself. When that comes up, catch it. Step number 2 is pause for 5 seconds. So you're not saying anything. The person said their opinion. I've caught it. And now I'm going to pause. And I'm going to hold it there. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I've put myself in a position where I can choose now what I do. I can choose to respond versus react. And step number 3, this is the best. Refuse to explain yourself. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, is that an empowering thing to do when you refuse to explain yourself. When I choose to say nothing to someone's opinion, I'm in a position of keeping my energy towards the things that I really, really want to accomplish. And when you do it, and you practice it, and you keep practicing it, and you keep on doing it, you'll start to realize, I don't have to explain myself at all. And not only do I not have to explain myself, but also it feels good not explaining myself. It feels good refusing to explain myself, because truly, the only person who is responsible for your actions is you. I can't blame my parents, blame my siblings, blame my spouse for my inaction anymore. Someone else's opinion cannot be a catalyst for my inaction. I am responsible for what I do. I am responsible for my own behavior or my lack thereof. So what we can do towards that end is to truly refuse to explain ourselves. So I hope that that's helpful. Leave a comment. Let me know how that helps you. And if you're interested in choosing happy, being a human who says, I'm going to choose happy, you can get some cool Choose Happy merch in the description below. And subscribe if you want to be a part of more videos like this and see some more things. Leave a comment, join the community. Gonna see you in the next one. See you in the next one. Bye.